Hey homesteaders, gardeners, and cooks. My name is Jennifer. Welcome to Miles Away Farm. Thanks for joining me in my kitchen. Today we are going to make shepherd's pie, which is one of my favorites. And evidently it's a thing for St. Patrick's Day. I think I'm going to miss it in terms of the upload, but technically today is March 16th, so we'll be just in time. Come join me. So what I love about shepherd's pie, besides the fact that it's just savory and delicious, is that it's easily adaptable to what you like, what you don't like, and what you happen to have in your refrigerator. So I'm starting out here with what's going to be about a cup of chopped onion. And I finally have a red onion from my pantry that isn't sprouting all the way through the top, which was a lovely surprise. I've been working my way through all of my red onions that I grew last year, and many of them have been sprouting. And then we're going to do about the same amount of chopped carrots as we have onions, so about another cup here. These are local carrots from a local farm. Unfortunately, my carrots did not do so great last year, and so I've been working my way through 20 pounds of carrot seconds from another farm that I bought, gosh, probably in September or October, and I still have some left. So carrots store incredibly well in a refrigerator. And then I'm using russet potatoes here. These are just organic russet potatoes from the grocery store. You can use whatever kind of potatoes you happen to have on hand. I'm gonna leave the skins on because I like that skin. You could peel these if you wanted to. And I'm just cutting these into about a 1-inch dice for making mashed potatoes. Unfortunately, these aren't my own potatoes. When we were processing all of the potatoes that I had from last year, my husband was helping me, and I forgot to tell him to set aside some of the larger ones for continued use in the kitchen, and so we ended up chopping and freezing all of them, and so I didn't have any actual whole potatoes left over. Into a skillet, we've got a couple tablespoons of olive oil, and in go our onions and carrots. We're gonna get a nice saute on those for about 5 minutes. Good sized pinch of salt. And our potatoes at this point are on and boiling as well. So we're doing two things at once. A couple cloves of garlic. And you wanna cook the garlic for about 30 seconds, just long enough to where you start getting some nice garlic smell. I'm adding in my lamb. This is the last of our homegrown lamb. We still have quite a bit in the freezer, but we no longer raise lamb. We raised them for about 10 years, and we sold the last of the herd last May. It just got to be too much to take care of all the animals that we have. And you want to get this chunked up and browned, so about 4 or 5 minutes here. Adding in another good dose of salt, some black pepper, and then 2 tablespoons of all-purpose flour, and you could substitute whatever thickener you wanted if you are gluten-free, so cornstarch would work here, arrowroot starch, tapioca starch. But what we're doing here is basically adding that flour, cooking it in to make a roux later. This is homemade tomato paste, about a teaspoon, and then I'm using better than bouillon as the beef broth here, just because I have it in the fridge and I'm trying to use it up. And a cup of water. So if you were using beef stock that was in a carton, you'd want 8 ounces. And I'm just chopping up that tomato and bouillon to make sure it gets spread out and dispersed in the sauce here. See how that immediately thickened up. A teaspoon of Worcestershire sauce, and I really think this is key. Don't leave this out. It is absolutely key to the recipe tasting really, really good. A teaspoon of crushed dried rosemary, and then a half a teaspoon of dried thyme. Just get everything stirred together. Give those herbs a chance to rehydrate a bit. And then half a cup of peas and half a cup of, this is our own canned corn. and that's your filling. The only thing I don't love about this recipe is that it gets a lot of stuff dirty. So, you've got a pot for the potatoes, you've got a skillet for the meat mixture, a colander, and then of course your baking pan. So potatoes, adding in about a quarter cup of half and half, a couple tablespoons of butter, and some salt and pepper. I like potato skins. You could certainly peel these. This potato masher is from OXO. I don't love it. It's actually bent, and I bent it really early from when I bought it, but it gets the job done. A lot of shepherd pie recipes will call for adding an egg yolk into your mashed potatoes. I don't bother with that, mostly because they're usually still hot when I'm mashing them, and if I threw an egg yolk in here, I would run the risk of the egg cooking, and then I got to figure out what to do with the egg white, so not my favorite thing. So I'm going to add a handful of some Parmesan cheese blend in here instead. The egg yolk is just to help hold those potatoes together so that they maintain their layers, and that's not really a big concern for me. So our filling goes into our 7x11 baking pan, and I'm actually filming while my husband does the pouring here because he's got a much stronger wrist for this large cast iron skillet. And you want to smooth everything out to a fairly even flat layer there. And then your mashed potatoes go on top. And both of us were so excited about having mashed potatoes. It's been a long time since we've had mashed potatoes. Michael admitted after we filmed this that he put the entire spatula in his mouth after he was done spreading everything out to clean it off. And you want to smooth this out to where it's sealing the edges of your pan. And that basically just helps keep everything from bubbling over. And this is a little bit like a lasagna. You want the layers to be fairly distinct when it comes out of the pan, and so you're trying to mash it down a little bit into a 400-degree oven for about 25 minutes. And look at that. It's bubbly. It smells amazing. And we have just a little bit of browning on the top, which is what I was looking for there. I let this cool for about 15 minutes before serving it up in order for the layers to hold together a little bit better. It was pretty molten coming out of the oven. And it's not a looker, I'm sure there's ways of doing this, and the egg yolk would have helped to keep really distinct layers and have this be a gorgeous presentation. But, this was a weeknight dinner. We weren't worried about that. We just wanted to have a delicious meal from a lot of homegrown ingredients. So there you go. Shepherd's pie, and you can make this as you like it. You could add mushrooms, you could leave out any of the vegetables that you didn't want. So absolutely delicious and really pretty quick to make. If you like this kind of content, give me a thumbs up, leave me a comment, and subscribe. I have new content coming out every week. Thanks for watching, Tribe.